Oh, 3 views already. Hey guys, thank you for joining us.
My shadows, shedding skin. I've been picking scabs again. I'm down, digging through my soul's looking for a clue. I've been crawling on my belly, clearing out what could have been. I've been wallowing in my own confusing, insecure delusions. Or a piece to cross me over, or a word to guide me in. I wanna feel the changes coming down. I wanna know what I've been hiding. My shadow, changes coming through my shadow. My shadow, shedding skin. I've been picking my scabs again. I've been crawling on my belly, clearing out what could have been. I've been wallowing in my own chaotic, insecure delusions. I wanna feel the change come to me, feel the outside turn me in. I wanna feel the metamorphosis and cleansing I've been enduring. My shadow, change is coming. Now is my time. Listen to my muscle memory. Contemplate what I've been clinging to. 46 into ahead of me. I choose to live into grow, take and get free. Move, learn and love you through. Cry, care and try to. Be paranoid and do. Lie, hate and fear and do. Do what I can step through. I choose to live into. Lie, kill and give into. Die, learn and love and do what it takes to prove. See my shadow changing, touching up and over me. Soften this old armor, open think I can clear the way by stepping through my shadow. Going out the other side, step into the shadow. 46 into us, me.
All right. Thank you guys for joining us today. I've got one of my awesome artists, Louise here from Brazil. Or am I wrong? It's Brazil, right? Oh, your volume's off.
Yeah, Brazil. I forgot to get it off.
Yeah, I was looking at Marvel. Did I silence him? No, I didn't mute him. Yeah, so thank you guys for joining us. Luis is from Brazil, and he's working on a project called Howler. Let me just bring that up so you guys can see that. Let me see if I've got it here. Oh no, I think it's over on the other screen. Let me just grab that. Thought I had it across. Usually what happens when you have like multiple screens and you're working on several items. So here we go. We should have this good and ready. So now, Louise, how long have you been working in comics, like as an illustrator and stuff?
In comics, I've been working. I've been at least for a year, I think.
Yeah.
I was just a beginner yet. I mean, most of the time years ago, I was just studying and working on other jobs. So for comics, I just began a year ago with other indie comics and such. And so that's like Howler will be like my second in comics, I would say. I mean, it's the second. I mean, along with that, I was working another comic job, but that's just another thing. But yeah, I think Howler is the second one. I mean, of course, as a artist, I was working with lots of other jobs and works as an artist, but in comic books, that's the second.
Right. So did you, what got you started in comics? I mean, how did you get interested in it?
I got, I mean, it's like from childhood, like from Batman, Spider-Man. I mean, it's just like everyone. So like, I think my first comic experience, it's hard to remember, but I think it's not even DC or Marvel. I think it's from school. It's like a book called Mouse from the World War II. I don't know if you know it.
What about Art Spiegel? Is it the one? Like Mouse. It's that one with like the mouse and cats, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I still haven't read it. It's like the one thing I have to read and have to own, and I still haven't. Man, like I'm like, yeah, it's one of the classics of all time. You got to at least have it in your collection, if you know. But
that's funny because I have it here, and when I read it for the first time, I didn't have to pay anything because it was in the library in my school.
Right.
So I just got there and you just found it between the other books. I like that's different from the other ones. So I just read. When I got it, I just kept reading. I was during classes. I was just reading the book.
Yeah.
Yes. So yeah,
I mean,
that's one of my first.
that's why, like, for me, like, that's why I want to see our comics as trade paperbacks in libraries. I think a lot of people don't realize why I want that, and because just what you just mentioned, right? Kids get introduced to comics for free at school in their libraries or in the public libraries if it's a good public library, right? Like our one's amazing here in Whangarei. Like I actually have a relationship with the managers there, with the team there, so because they've been part of our convention for 5 years, and they've done amazing work. And so I've built a relationship with them. Like, I've never sort of like, I think only once or twice I said, hey, can we get this in? But then it turned out to be, not available. But I think it's very important to have comics in the libraries because of what you just said, right? That's where your first experience was, like reading Mouse. Pretty strong freaking book for a young kid. How old were you, man? Reading Mouse at that,
Well,
in
right
Brazil, by the way,
now,
guys, right?
yeah. I mean, right now I'm 22, but at the time, I think I was 11 or 12, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was at least one of my first experience. I'm not really sure if it was my first. I can't remember my first ever experience with comics, but one of the first that I do remember that it's Mouse, because it was really remarkable for me.
Mm.
And of course, after that, then I started reading Batman. It was by far my favorite hero, like Earth One.
Yeah.
I even bought it for myself. The Killing Joke.
Mm.
So yeah, it's mostly Batman. Yeah, Batman is
Yeah.
by far my favorite. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, like, there's a whole shelf of Batman over here, like entire shelf. Never mind the comics; it's just shelves of Batman toys and Batmobiles, Joker, and all that stuff. But and like you, I'm a huge Batman fan. He's like my number one, right? It's kind of hard for me to, if it's superhero, it's definitely Batman, right? If it's not superhero, it's Hellblazer, John Constantine, and the other one was Punisher for Vigilante, right? So I had supernatural, superhero, and human Vigilante. So I got all my three bases covered. So what was it about Batman that you liked? I mean, what got you to, because you're like, here's the thing, right? So you're not what we call a Westerner, right? Because you're in Brazil, and it's a different thing to, like, it's an American comic, it's an American IP. How did you, get introduced to it and stuff?
well, I well, how can I say how I got introduced? I mean, it's mostly from the TV shows too, because you also broadcast here in the TV. So
Right.
yes, right here behind me. So when I was a kid, it just in Cartoon Network and things like that. There were some TV shows like Justice League and Batman. And I just got watching too. There's the movies too, like the Dark Knight.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's just these things in general, and also the all of those merchandising that you got to see in shops. That everyone can see. I mean, I think I almost had
Like,
a Batman bag, for school. So
yeah,
many things.
like a pencil case, right? All this merchandising, T-shirts, and everything.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's just that kind of thing like a kid would want to buy in
Yeah.
these stores. So yeah, that's mostly it then. So through the TV shows and movies, I got to know it, and then I got to the comics. Uh,
Did
I
you
was
did you like get somebody introduce you to the comics, or did you find it yourself, or did somebody buy it for you, or did somebody tell you about it?
It's kind of half and half of what you just told me, like for myself and from others, because there's also my older brother
Mm.
who's interested in these things too. He's also an artist, so
Yeah.
yeah, he also really interested in comics. So we both started to get finding out about this new world for us.
Yeah.
So yeah, some of the first comics that we have about for Batman is the Killing Joke that we all
Mm.
heard about like at the time, like oh that's a classic and etc. So he just bought it in the store. The other one that I don't have yet, that's just my by far my favorite from Batman is the Dark Knight Returns. That's
Right.
the best one for me.
You mean
Not
the
not just the
first Dark
story, but
Knight
the
or the
hmm?
Dark Knight 2?
Yeah, yeah, and it's not just the story, but it's also the aesthetics of
Yeah.
the character. You know, it's just really cool, and the idea to the concept. So yeah, that's it.
What was about the character that made you like him? You know, like I know a lot of people, you know, are kind of like, ah, Batman's this and this now because it's the modern day. But what was it for you? You know, when you got introduced to it, what was it like that you know said, hey, this is the character I like, and uh, this is fun for me. You know, I enjoy
Yeah,
this person, you know, the story or whatever.
yeah. For me, I mean, in general, some of the things I really like about characters and stories is when it's dark and gritty. And I like those features. And Batman Dark Knight Returns is for me one of the most yeah it's one of the versions of Batman that also has these features, these aesthetic, and, and also I don't know. I mean, there's also you know there's this those kind of superheroes like Superman that is kind of clean and all virtues
Yeah,
and it's not really my taste. I like those kind of heroes like Batman is more flawed and more dark theme, you know.
yeah,
And yeah, Batman nowadays, at least the modern one, it's more re, revolves about around these dark themes, more heavy
yeah.
themes, those dark tones. So I really like this.
Yeah, I mean, like Howler's like with you know the work we're working on together. Like Howler is, it's really it's dark, right? It's
Yeah,
pretty dark, and it's you know it's a real human element story. It's like you know we're talking about a mother and son kind of storyline, and that's the only you know it's like how do you tell that sort of story without it being mushy, you know, without it being like all soft and emotional and stuff, and I think you know the way we're doing it is kind of like interesting in the sense of you know, I mean like why I say we is because we're working together on how the characters look, how they you know how we designed them. Like this character here is the girlfriend Shayla, right? If I remember right, from Iosis. Um, and so you know we look at what's about her that's going to bring her, you know, to give her a bit more her own style. So you know you put a top on with like with flat florals on it, you know, and you sort of make her look feminine. You know, she wears jandals and stuff like that, so she's not someone who's going to wear high heels. And so when you're designing characters, you know, you're looking at all the different ways, you know, you can work on it to make it look, you know, give them their own personalities. And I think, you know, when you even here like when you're looking at different sketch ideas and stuff, you're developing even the lines on their faces can you know tell you a story about maybe they've been through some stuff. And I think that's what I love about artists, right, who work in illustration and comics. And I think that's why I'm so that's why I hold comic art and artists and the medium of comics in such high regard compared to a painting any day, you know, because there's so much more effort and so much more skill. I mean, like not skill, but so much more depth to what to the image, right? Compared to
yeah,
like just
layers.
painting somebody, you know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, every art like has his own way to expressing himself. Like, and in comics, like it's more like at least in general more stylized. You know, with types of uh, different line work, line
Mm.
art, because generally, like in the painting illustrations that you mentioned, it's more like classic,
Yeah.
realistic, and in comics, it's just the artist has the liberty to play more with his art style. So
Yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's really cool. I mean, of course that there are some artists that are objectively more skilled than others. You
Yeah.
know, you can see that in his proportions, anatomy, etc. perspective. But
Yeah.
yeah, but there's also that personal space for each artist for of his art style and etc.
Yeah, and it's like one of the things I really like to promote is that over time you develop your own skill and like your own styles and stuff. And I think a lot of people are afraid that they don't get that right away, when you're starting out. And because of that, it scares them away from doing, trying even. I know sometimes, like when I was like writing, I was going, well, there's already, so many freaking comics already out there with the stories, and they've already been telling all these stories, and like, so what's the point of me writing another story? Then I was sort of like, well, I'm bringing my own thing to it, right? My own sort of ideas to it. I have stories I want to tell the way I want to tell them, open up worlds to, like all our, like, as all our kind of like stories, even like comic books, even though they have their own storyline, somehow they interact and they, you know, have Easter eggs which connect all the worlds together. With this one here, we just connected one of our characters to Zoolandia, which is a parallel universe place. And that was suggested by one of my, not the character, but the idea was suggested by one of the artists from Joachim from Sweden, who's working on Zoolandia, Fantastical Romy. And he said, well, we're sending all our characters across to, all our, over to this world from our modern world. What if one of them come over here? And I was like, that's a great idea. I've done that with other stuff, connecting our other worlds, but I haven't connected this one to anything yet. And I said, yeah, let's have a look about it. Yeah, let's have a look into it. Like, and then I thought, yeah, I know which one would work for us. And then I said, you know what we'll do? We'll mention the character that's come over from Zoolandia in Zoolandia Fantastical Romy as like a passing thing. You know, you would like you'd have a narration, somebody speaking about this person in the past that disappeared, right? That's it, and you don't know where he is, and then you go, oh, if you're reading it, then you go, oh, is that him there in Howler? Is that him there? And I'm like, that's one way of connecting our worlds together. Like, we've got the plunge universe is huge. It's got so many amazing characters and so many storylines in it. Like right now we've got Tomas working on the manga, the tortoise, and he's I think we're just about to put issue 1 out. We've got one page of issue 1 to do, and it's ready to go to digital shop. By the way, talking about digital shop, so if you want comics and if you want them cheap, right now our comic store, at Rising Sun Comics is 20% off across the board, right? And so go check it out, and I'll put up, I'll share that actually now, right? So you guys can see it there, and then we'll carry on with our conversation here. So where are you? So there it is. So that's the link there in the chat, right? So all the stuff here, look, trade paperbacks and stuff, right? All the stuff here is on special right now, 20% off. You get to try out, a whole bunch of different stuff. If you're a G.I. Joe fan, you've got G.I. Joe. If you're into like Westerns, you got Dead Reckoning. You've got more G.I. Joe, and you can click there and go and read a free comic that we've got on our page. Also, Hired Kill, it's up to 11 issues. Well, there's some amazing work out here. And of course, you got Lockdown from me down there over at for free to read. But there's so many amazing work, right? You got After Action Report, Now, if you go to the store itself, it's going to pop me over to the store without jumping to somewhere else. You've got, you know, you basically got 50 cents off or 60 cents off our book right now. That we're going to have one of the, promotion adverts from um, Louise's howler in there, that he's working on soon. And like you got all the stuff here. If you're a fan of G.I. Joe, you got all the stuff. You got fan comics, trade paperbacks, Flint, so much going on. So, give it a try it out. There's some non-profit work. This is the Millerverse. And then you've got all the Rising Sun comics as well. You got the US side. It's got Purgatory. Purgatory's a great book. It's really, really cool. I like that. There's also, Armadillo Justice. There's kids stuff, activities in there for books. You got Equation. So tons of stuff, man. The indie scene is rocking. And so, don't worry, don't be scared to try out something new, because I know for me, I've moved away from the mainstream, you know, because I just got tired of the same old, same old. So I'd rather try something new. If you want to try something new, it's not cost you arm and a leg. So you can actually go check it out and say, well, I find out which one you like. If you like superheroes, you got superheroes. If you don't like superheroes, sci-fi, Western, like I said, comedies in there as well. There's some funny comics there called Henry the Henry the Tinkerian. No, hold on. I'm going to bring it up because I'm going to butcher that crap. I always have a hard time trying to pronounce that, man. It's annoying. So this is Henry. So Henry's funny as hell. It's kind of in the mature scene. Mature read, it's about a, uh, what you call it? What is it, like a hamster, right? So it's good to read, So I'll leave that up there for you guys to read, and you can check it out later. But so what made you want to get into art, Luis? I mean, like as a comic artist, like what time, like how old were you when you went, like, I think I want to do this,
You mean in comics
No,
or
just an
art in
art, as
general?
an artist. Yeah,
Uh,
to be a creative person.
that means like it was around at the time of the pandemic, like right
Right.
at the beginning, or even before. I think
Mm.
like a bit or the from the pandemic. I was just working in some office job.
Yeah.
It was my first job actually,
Mm.
and I remember that at that time I was what I wanted to do was to study economy, something
Right.
like totally,
Totally
uh,
different to, being
yeah,
creative.
totally different. Yeah,
Creative with numbers.
yeah. No, this I can't see myself. I can't see myself like dealing with numbers and math,
Yeah.
something like that. But at that time, I thought about studying economy, and I mean, around even before, I already knew that I could handle myself with drawings and just things like
Mm.
that. Like drawing paper and some kind of art. But I at that time I thought that I couldn't like earn any money, from that. Something really
Mm.
that I can live on from it. So I just never thought about studying like seriously as a job. So at that time, I just when I discovered about like working as an artist was because of my brother too, because he ended up meeting a art teacher around here in my city, and this
Right.
teacher is also a comic artist,
That's
and he
awesome.
also knows like many other big comic artists like he in the same city that I live, there's also Paulo Siqueira from DC and Marvel,
Right.
and Paulo Siqueira is also a friend from my teacher. So,
Right.
and my teacher also knew many other guys like from this area, and he was also a comic artist. So,
Yeah.
and then he ended like meeting my brother who was also really talented, even better than me. Being honest. Uh, so I so this teacher just ended up convincing him about joining that area, like working as a artist. And my brother started talking about that to me too.
Yeah.
Then he just started talking like, "Hey, you could try that too. I mean, you
Yeah.
also have some talent. You can maybe end up being an artist too." So at the beginning, I didn't really like the idea. I thought I wasn't really sure, but like 6 months or a year after, I he ended up convincing me. And I just then my first step was to join his art school for my teacher. He was the
Right.
one who teach me about what I didn't know yet because
Yeah.
you mean I have some talent. You could see that I could draw some things that most people don't, but I
Yeah.
didn't know like half of this all the things I can do now. I
Yeah.
couldn't do at the time, so it was really it was really a great experience for the art school. Yeah, that's all I ended up because I always liked these art entertainment. I always liked it, but I just thought that it wasn't worth it. Investing
Mm.
my own skills because I thought wouldn't I wouldn't just earn any money. Like because I don't know. I mean, in Brazil here, I don't know how it is in other places or in New Zealand, but people here don't really give much credit to these artistic jobs. And
Yeah. I think it's just that they see illustrations, they see comics as not the adult thing to do. They know it's like in the back of their head, they know it's such a huge part of our culture, yet in their understanding, they can't comprehend it as a job, as a career. That like they look at all the movies and stuff and they go, oh, it's just a movie, so it's Hollywood. That's a thing, but they don't realize it comes from somewhere, and so they don't treat the artist. And even the friggin' big companies don't treat the artists with the respect that they do. That's what the '90s basically almost just ended Marvel because all their artists went, you don't respect us. You take our work and you sell it for thousands, tens of thousands of dollars, yet you don't respect us. You don't let us have any of that money ourselves, but you use all our talent, and that's why Image Comics set up, right? And just turn that on its head and show people that art was very important to the comic
yeah,
industry. It's
yes,
what gets people to any young kid is coming to comics because of the art first. That's what they're coming to. They're not coming to because of the fucking writing, right? They're coming because of the art. Like, see the great designs, the characters, the cars and Batman, the Batwing, Batmobile, you got like the Batplane, whatever, Batjet, all that. They come to that because of the art. They don't go, oh, and he is a kid who just lost his parents. They don't think of that. And I think that's why I think a lot of people don't appreciate art that, because I think it's only kid stuff. But here it is, a multi-billion-dollar industry just around creatives like us, like me writing, you doing art, creating some comic book, and who knows, someday, maybe, maybe not. It might be something that's on Hollywood, right? But who cares about that? Right now, you just want to create, have fun creating and testing if you can have the skill level to create something. So, what was it like, going going back, going to art school and with your art, art teacher and courses? Is that what you're doing? Like, were you doing courses with him?
yeah. It was from that method of courses and like weekly. Uh, and the beginning was just online because it was at the time of the pandemic, so
Yeah,
so we just couldn't leave like at the place. I mean that time was really bad for everyone. I it's funny because I kind of I am kind of a introvert person, but at the same time I don't like staying at home too much. I need to go out. So yeah. Then after the pandemic, we started going to the our courses and the lessons at the school,
Right.
and mostly sometimes I think at the beginning was just at the class it was just me, but then sometimes there are some other people too, and then at the end there were like at least 3 or 5 people during the same class I was, because
Right.
it was like almost every day there will be classes, but
Yeah.
I will try on purpose to stay only on the class there were no one, just on
Yeah.
purpose. But then at the end, just every day there will be people.
Cool.
Yeah, and, and from there I also made many new friends too.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
was going to ask that next. Like, I was like, what was it like just, being in a room full of other creative people? Because one thing I realized as a people, like a lot of influencers are now turned into comic books, right? They think they know what a comic book is. They think they've read it enough. And so they just think I'm going to go out and do it, not realizing that there's things that you got to do and learn, and a lot of times that's learning from each other, like learning from other creators. So what was that like being in that environment for you?
yeah, it was really different like from school, back in the time, because like when I was just in my normal school, when people just see me draw something and be like, "Oh, you can draw? Can you draw me?" Yeah, that's it's always the same thing they do as draw
Yeah.
myself. Yeah. Then in the art school, just totally different. Like people, the the subjects we had to talk about just totally
Yeah.
different. You know, and yeah, it
Yeah, like,
was really
why is that why did you do that line that way, right? Oh,
yeah,
maybe you should try this, or have you thought
yeah,
about that?
yeah.
And that's
Yeah,
very different to some yeah, that's
yeah,
very different to somebody going, can you draw me something, you know?
yeah. I would just talk about like different art styles, some art inspirations, artists that we know. Oh,
Yeah.
you know that you read that comic book or that manga, So yeah,
Yeah.
so I just start to meet this new world, you know. And the guy was like I would mostly like was almost a encyclopedia about the was my teacher in the
Right.
I don't know how to call him, because he wasn't really a teacher, but I don't remember the word in English, but he was
Mentor.
one of the guys they owned the the school. You know, I just forgot the word now. But
Oh, like a
this,
mentor or somebody who come in to like just advice.
yeah, something like that. And both of them like really a encyclopedia of comics and arts.
Oh,
Just
right,
about
researcher, something like that.
yeah. No, he just knew about everything, every artist, every
Oh, wow.
story. And it's just really good hearing from them, because one of them also had working experience in the area in comics,
Yeah,
so it was really like
that's cool,
he
man.
yeah, it was a new and unique experience for me.
Yeah.
And yeah, you mentioned something about like the people, if some people think that it's really easy to get in this area, and
Yeah.
yeah, that's true, because I also met some people around that time, and even today like they try to hop on these comics thinking it's just really easy just to make your own story and publish it, and you think you'll be rich.
Yeah.
It's not like that. I mean, I have some stories like myself that I want to tell in the future, but I know that I'm not ready for that. I need
Yeah.
to study more, get some more experience, more reputation in my name, because
Mm.
right now I'm still like a nobody. So I just can get out of nowhere and try to do a comic story.
Yeah. I, I think it's like the other thing, like you talk about the school, right? The class and stuff. You got one thing that's different to being at a normal school and then to being at art school is that everybody there has got different skills, different styles, different levels of experiences in comics or whatever art they're doing. So somebody might be really good, and then somebody might be really bad when just starting out, and then somebody will be just like in the middle. And so you get experience from everybody, and you get to learn what. And I think that's a great part of being like at specialized schools like that, like a being at art school for me, around almost 3 years. I think it was like about 3 years, and learning all the different skills. And out of all those, all I took away was this, right? I did jewelry design, I did glass, I did paintings. I can't remember the last time I did a painting. Actually, I think I did an Incredible painting about 3 years ago or something like that. For the same thing I'm doing this for, like with the crowdfund, like not the crowdfunding, the fundraiser, right? But it's e- even that wasn't like actual painting. It was just like coloring in, more like. And I think, I mean, original, but like still felt like coloring in. But I think the greatest thing you can learn at through courses is technique. You know, being able to learn new techniques, new styles, and then break those. Like go find your own style. Have your own
Yeah,
little idea of what you want to do once you've learned the skill set. And that's why I think like these people who are so-called influencers and stuff coming in, they don't understand that sort of like there's so many things to learn, and they just think they know it all, and it's kind of weird to see that. I mean, like even I thought like I knew it all when I first came in, but then I was like, I had I started storytelling, so I thought I know what to do with stories. So what I'll do is I'll get artists to do that, you know, and so that's because everybody, it's kind of like unless you're like a writer, writer illustrator, it takes a while to really get to that stage where you can be a writer illustrator. The skill in illustrating is so friggin' hard, but also really rewarding as well, right? When you spend your time doing it.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's really weird that you mentioned like uh, some of these people that think they're really good and what they do right now it's enough. I mean, in this area, I think that's a wrong way to think because you always can get better. I mean, for myself, I still can really like my own drawings. I
Yeah.
still don't really like. I can see it if I see my own art and think like, yeah, it's cool, it's great. No,
Mm.
I usually don't like. Uh, it's really hard for me to like my own art. I always think I can get better, and I want to
Yeah.
get better.
And that's all a part of learning. Like you can always you can go, oh yeah, this I can fix later, or this. But the other thing about comics, it's such like kind of like it's a slow process, but at the end it's very fast. Like you got to make sure you're meeting your deadlines, you're making sure that you got your work done, and then you can move to the next page. But because like otherwise you'll be like Joe Madura, right? Who spent like 6 years on one graphic novel, right? Because you're so into it, which I actually have, right? And it's just like when it came out, nobody cared because it took so long to put it out. But everybody was looking forward to it at the start, and so you can go that way as well, where you like become very, you know, pedantic about it and want to do everything perfect, that you actually lose the momentum and lose your audience because you're so slow with it. And that's the same thing with writing, right? Where you can like George R. R. Martin, right? Everybody's waiting for the next book, and he's taken what already been 6 years since he think that. And that's in a way, I think that's because the idea he had for it, and this is somebody else's thought on it, is that that's the way it worked out in the TV series is the way he was going to write it, right? And then he realized nobody liked that, and so now he's trying to come up with something else, to make it even better. So the book is not the same as the TV show. But I think that's what I like about comics. I think comics has such a cool medium where like you can tell a story as well as through the art and through the writing, and I think that's just amazing that way. So when you started, like you were there for 6 months, right, doing that course with a teacher, with the tutor.
No,
What
I
sort of
spent like I actually spent like 2 years. I
oh,
mean,
okay.
yeah. Yeah. So what was the question? I,
Yeah, so how long, like, yeah, what sort of things did you learn while doing that 2-year course? I mean, there's so much you can say, right? But what was things that stuck out to you that you took away from it?
well, the first thing is obviously the perspective.
Right.
So that was one of the most important lessons. The one that I still didn't know before that. Yeah, perspective, like it's like when I learned, I I noticed how important and essential it is to drawing. You
Yep.
know, because like I even more in comics, because if you want to draw a scene, in a room or in a street, you must know the perspective. If you
Right.
don't, just you just the scene was won't work. So
Mm.
yeah, it's the first thing that I will remember from my lessons. Uh, so this principle of perspective is the most important one. There's also I'll also learn about shapes, how to sketch, and anatomy, and there's also more, but I don't remember. I don't remember in English the word how to translate it. But yeah, I learned many things. Some I also learned something about coloring too, but not really deep. I mean, what I learned more about coloring was more by myself and some tips from my brother. And yeah, I think that's it. Like I can what I can remember that I can mention.
Cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that's something like a lot of people don't understand is perspective is so important because that's how your eyes work. Your eyes are so
yeah,
used to seeing distance, like what's over there, and everything gets to become smaller. And that also works with the size of the actual character and how they're positioned, what their sizes are. So if you have somebody far away, they're not going to have that much detail, right? But if they're close, they have a lot of detail and stuff like that. And so if you like spend a lot of time on a little character that's way in the back with a lot of detail, you've just wasted time because nobody's ever going to see that. And I think learning perspective, teaches that a lot about how to base things, where they should be, uh, in the background, foreground, what you want to concentrate on, and how to, especially with comics, like with this one here, we had so much bubbles on it and so much narration because there wasn't anybody talking. It was more about like what's going on, and so you had to allow for that as well. But also, I mean, like we look at it, like when we were talking about like, going back and forth on this page, it was like what we need to do, how important, how wide it is, like the back area of this alleyway, what car, what's happening over there. And I'm sorry, I could point to all of it, but like I've got clay on my hand. But like, so if you look at like the Jasmine Bar, further back from the Jasmine Bar on the right there is a fence. And we talk about why that fence was different to the fence on the other side. And it was just a lot of this discussion, like it's people might say, well, it's you just threw it in there. It's like, no, we talked about this for ages, like okay, what's going to work, how it's going to work, why do we have it like there, because
yeah. I can
what
remember that in the beginning when
yeah,
I just didn't get it how it would be the scene. I thought like it was be like some big city, like really big, tall stores and buildings. I remember that,
yeah,
and then you had to explain it to me.
yeah, that's not how we have it here. This is the back
Yeah,
room, and like and this is how it's sort of. And I think that's the thing about like writing, creating something with someone who's totally different from your country. Like here I'm in New Zealand, and here you are in Brazil, right? And your buildings over there look different to our buildings here. and so we don't have that like kind of like that, century old to 300-year-old buildings around. Everything's sort of like it's basically modern, right? Like 100 years old in New Zealand, basically, when it comes to like buildings and stuff, brick and mortar stuff. But we don't have architecture that's really sort of like antique looking, right? Gothic looking. So that's the other thing when you're doing something like that. But one of the things I love about what we talked about, like, was like when we're doing like, because one of our characters used to be around in the 70s, and so we talked about uh, like who was that? Like like the race car driver,
Race cars for
and is
Senna.
it Anton Senna? Like
Yeah, Ayrton Senna.
yeah. So because we were talking about like how Anton Senna was racing, and then we thought like because like the way our character, one of our characters works, is that she has a car and basic, vehicle in every country because she's always on the move. And so we thought, well, it'd be interesting that why don't we have her working, do a page where she's as a like, kind of a flashback that she's like what is it called, a pit crew for Anton Senna, right? And so now we get to have Anton Senna's car in there because that becomes like cars. That's what, like, one of the things about this is vehicles are very important to this, uh, kind of like to this series, right? As much as the creatures are, as the characters are, because it's like it, it's how they get around, and so it's part of, you'll see very interesting vehicles in this series. From carriages, right, horse-driven carriages to like we mentioned, Anton Senna's. What is that? It's like a what are those cars called?
From
Race? Is it like a race?
the Formula
Oh,
One.
Formula One. That's it. So Formula One cars and stuff like that, as well as like the Mustang, a Ford Mustang, 1970s. You know, um, it's just classic. You know, and that's what I love about this one. This is where with this series, I can actually concentrate on vehicles, right? And like, because I never really had to think about vehicles for any other comics we've done, any other stories I've told. And I think I'm having a lot of fun researching different cars and stuff, learning how, you know, one of the things, just finishing here about the car thing is that like, I actually have a friend who owns a Mustang, right, over in America, in Texas. And he was like, I was telling him about this, and he said, "Hey, yeah, I actually own one," you know. And he said, like, this is, this is what it's like, and what do you think about this color scheme and so on. I said, why not? You know, let's try that. And so, we thought, all right, we'll try this color scheme and so on. And but like this, working with so many people, across these things, like, I mean, I'm talking about Big Stu. He's a co-host on my, on our toys collecting and unboxing, a show, which is going to be moving on Sunday for New Zealand, to Southern Hemisphere, Saturday for Northern Hemisphere. So we're just going to be doing it twice a month on Saturday, Sunday, right? So check that out. I think there should be a link on the page for where you can like get notified and stuff. So after the 2 years of doing the course, um, what did you do after that? Like, I mean, did you go back to doing work and stuff, part time, or did you just go, I'm going to do comics?
Yeah, uh, we- if my memory don't start failing, I think I was another job like shortly
Yep.
during that time. I don't remember really well, but I think I was in another job, and then I just left because I decided to focus on being an others when I just finishing the lessons.
Yep.
Uh, but yeah, at the beginning I was just trying to be patient and slow, just not trying to rush because at that time I wasn't really sure if I was ready, in terms of skill.
Yeah.
Of course, not experience because I just was just a beginner, but in terms of skill, I wasn't really sure.
Mm.
So even after I finished, I still had some more. months, like trying to study for myself,
Yeah.
at home. Yeah, and I still kept going to the art school even after I finished, just
Cool.
to hang out and talk and yeah, just keep drawing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, so like yeah, when I started was last year when
Yeah.
when I started to get some my first jobs as an artist, and what was my first? I don't remember now. My my gosh, that's weird.
Well, it is late over there. You've been working all day.
I can remember my first job as an artist. That's
Yeah.
that's weird. I don't know how I just forgot. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the first. How can you forget that? I don't know how I just
It'll
forgot.
come to you.
Yeah. Yeah,
In about
I
5 minutes,
think,
when you're not thinking about it, it'll come to you. Go, yeah, that's what it was. Because like sometimes
yeah,
like that's the way like a memories. Like when you concentrate on something, it gets clogged up,
yeah,
and you just can't think straight. But once you
yeah,
stop thinking about it, it clears up.
yeah. I think it's the time too because it's getting late here, and
Yeah.
I'm starting to sleep earlier because of my migraines and my
Yeah.
problem with headaches because these last weeks were really tiring for me. Like
Yeah.
there were some days I was working like 10 hours the whole day
Yeah.
in the notebook in the screen, just my eyes just like
Yeah.
for 10 hours straight. So yeah,
There's
and
something like there is something like people with artists, because you like, especially if you work like you do sketch in your pencils, and you go you put it onto computer and you digitize, you can get stuck in there without realizing for hours and hours, and that can be quite damaging and stressful on the eyes. It's because you're getting constant light going in, and we're not
yeah,
supposed to have constant light going in. That's why when I'm working, I always try to look away or look at the other screen that it's on, so that my eyes isn't focusing on the same screen. Especially when you're working and writing, it's only a white screen with words on it, and even when you're sketching and stuff like that and drawing. So I recommend taking breaks, like even for a couple of minutes, just to rest the eyes. Um,
yeah,
Especially with computer, it's unnatural, artificial light coming through.
yeah. And I try to do that some breaks.
Yeah,
I think but I also try not to do too much because I have some lazy issues. Like if I sometimes if I like I'm focused, concentrated on the drawing. But if I take a break, then I just sometimes I may just go back like in an hour or something,
yeah.
just because of laziness. So I try not to do too much breaks because I get afraid that
Distract,
I may
distracted.
just yeah. So it's like a dilemma for me.
Yeah,
So yeah, but at the same time, I need to make breaks because if I just don't think, I just keep doing it.
mm,
Sometimes I already just kept drawing way past lunchtime or dinner. I
yeah,
just I just didn't mind. That's weird because when you're out there like doing nothing, you feel hungry, but if I'm working here, I don't feel
yeah.
anything. That's really weird, really, really odd. I don't know why that happens.
Well, because I think I'm the same, right? I wake up and I'll work for about 6, 7 hours without eating. I'll just get a coffee and the drink, have water there. That's it, and I'll just carry on working. And then it'll be like, oh shit, I better get some food. All right. So I end
Yeah,
up like having 2 meals a day because of that. And so I think it's because your brain starts. It's just your brain's working. It's not your stomach. Is like because you're. It's not a physical labor. It's intense and can be harder sometimes, like more stressful, because it's your brain's going 100 miles an hour trying to get work done. Whereas if you're a laborer, you know you're just lifting stuff, and that makes your body use up energy, right? Your entire body use up energy. Whereas when you're doing, it's just your head and your hands. And I think that's why we don't feel that hungry when we're working.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. That's also interesting what you mentioned about the stress, because
Mm.
when I started talking to some other people these days about these pains that I started to have because of my routine, people start talking. Yeah, it's stress. It's you may be leading with stress.
Yeah.
I found it weird for me, because during the days I don't feel myself stressed. I mean,
Mm.
I already working in I already had a office job before, so I know
Yeah.
what's really stressing for me.
Yeah.
So in my office job, I felt myself really more with more stress than right now. In this job I have now as a artist, I feel better. I mean, at least emotionally, but it's true because in some way I still getting much stress, but it's just not getting to me emotionally. Only
Yeah.
my brain from the activity, because I just all the day, all the time here, drawing the screen. So it's
Yeah.
like
It's the
some different
concentration.
type of, huh?
Yeah. Different type of stress because it's just concentration.
Yeah,
You know, like it's like intense because you're like, that's why like when I do my writing or any work, I just do it in complete silence. Like I don't have music or anything like that on, because I find anything like that would be distressful, like not distressful, distracting to me. So in the hours that I spend, it's like middle of the night. It's around about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning when I start working, because that's when I feel really calm and relaxed, and so I can like go, all right, now on after watching anime, TV, whatever, YouTube, I feel calm now, and then I'll go and spend 2, 3 hours, 4 hours just working, on the comics inside, lettering, whatever I have to do. But I think it's a different type of stress. It's not a body stress, right? It's not
yeah,
like emotional stress. And I think a lot of people who aren't artists don't understand that, because when you're creating, your brain, it's like, if you watch Ethan Van Sciver, he'll do art for a day, like a few hours, and this is normal for everybody, right? Uh, you'll go and do like about 5, 6 hours of intense drawings, and then you just go, nah, I'm just going to go vegetable now, and just let yourself calm, and you go, I'm going to talk. That's what I like when I do YouTubing. Like it's full on, but like it's kind of like more relaxing as well. It's not like intense, kind of like concentrating on my, writing, grammar, spelling, speech bubbles being right, or color, and I think, and you need that. You need that downtime. And a lot of people who watch him, kind of think, oh, they don't understand that you need that downtime, because otherwise you will hate what you're doing, and it'll become so emotionally stressful that you won't put out your best work either, because you need to be, calm, you need to be in a good place when you're doing art, because you want to give your best work.
yeah, yeah. That's true. I mean, like as I said, I already had a office job, and it
Mm.
was actually one of the most stressful moments in my life. That's that's when I passed through that. It was the moment that I thought to myself, I don't want this life for me.
Mm.
Just don't want that. And but even so, now that I work in something that I like, that I want to work in, like that I want to do for the rest of my life. But
Yeah.
there are some days I really stressful. I mean, I think it's last week.
Mm.
It was it last week that I did the first ink for the page.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when I did this ink, I was inking this page and another page for another work at the same time. At the same day, I was inking two pages. You
Right.
know, so I mean, I could have just release sent to you the page earlier if I was just working in only one, but no, I was just doing two at the same time.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I also had my other video game job. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's really great, because if it was just one thing, one job to do, it would just be nice. to do.
Mm.
But since I got bills to pay, and you know, I live in my life as a adult, so I need money.
You got
So
responsibilities.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's really crazy. So yeah, I trying to manage so I won't start to hate my job
Yeah.
because I mean drawing, just by drawing, it can be nice to me.
Yeah.
Of course, even though if I just drawing just for myself, I'd probably be really lazy, but
Yeah.
it's still nice. And so if I just started tiring myself, so I just start to hate my jobs. That's not good.
Yeah.
And yeah, so we have to learn to manage.
Yeah. I mean, like, that's why I like doing what I do, because like I can go from like um, writing a story to lettering to coloring a cover, and then chatting with you guys, and then going back and doing some social media stuff, then coming and doing this, because that way I don't get bored in between it, because it's different things. Each one of them has their own stresses and stuff, and and you can have fun at it, but like if you don't have that break in between what you're doing, you know you can, like you said, you can end up hating it, right? And it takes away all the fun and joy out of it. and
Yeah,
um, and and it's not a good place to be when that happens, because that means that other areas will suffer as well, because if one thing goes down, the other areas go down as well. So it's good to have breaks. It's good to have things to just relax, things that make you you help you relax. Like, I mean, some people game, right? They'll go and play video games and stuff. I'll go and watch anime. you know I'll put on
yeah.
anime and I'll just chill out, or I'll play a visual novel game, right? One of those computer-based games, like with a lot of
Yeah.
text and stuff.
Yeah,
And
talking about anime, well, which one you're watching now?
I think I just completed 12 episodes of Delicious in the Dungeon. Um, I'm looking to get into The Woman and the Beast or something like that. I haven't tried that. There's a one about witches that I watched, where like the dictator came to power and got killed all the witches, and they imprisoned them, enslaved them, and stuff like that. But there's a new one, like a new season. I mentioned this yesterday to Art. There's a new season for I think season 3 of ReZero. It's one of my favorites. It's like this guy who gets to live 7 days over and over and over again, and it's got one of my favorite like episodes in it, where it's like that. You know how a hero just comes to a place where he's like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm just so sick and tired of trying to do this and try to fix things that never works out. It's got the best monologue, and like two people talking. The greatest episode ever in anime that I can think of, for two people talking. And there's other, you see other things happening around them, but like like scenes and stuff like that. But it's basically the girl and the guy who's the main talking, and it's like my most favorite. It always brings tears to my eyes, like makes emotional, because it's written so well, and that's why I'm looking forward to it. There's also Overlord. Have you seen Overlord? uh
Uh, what's the name?
Overlord. It's a guy. It's about a guy who goes from our world into this other world, but he's a demon king, right? And he becomes a demon
I
king,
know,
and
I
then
know.
he's got this whole. It's like a game. I think
Ah,
Overlord is a game, based on a game. It's like an isekai based on a game. I love
ah,
isekai. Isekai is my favorite. Manga um, genre, right? And that's what led me to Zoolandia, right? As a comic book series, and which we're doing right now. I think I got about 4 page pencil pages today from Kim. I might show it to you guys once I actually. I'll go clean my hands since we're talking about it. Otherwise, I'll forget later. So yeah, have a look. I'll bring up a trailer from Overlord in a second. because I don't even think I downloaded it from Skype yet. Because I just get sent like photos, like mobile photos from Joachim to let me know where I'm at, or where he's at with it, and then I'll take that into Clip Studio Paint, and then I'll look at it and then like arrange, make sure that my bubble's in the right place so he knows where to concentrate, what he's got to do. But we did the entire, I think it was 26 pages of the comic book. We storyboarded the entire thing, and then I went and speech bubbled it, and then on top of that he went and now he's doing the pencils for it, and then he's inked a couple pages more. So I'll bring up that work now. So I just want to share this with you, and like how I imagine the city, right? Like city of Whangarei, being in a fantastical world in Zealandia. So this is like just a mashup of different, places. And I said, this is how I want my city to look. So you can see what it's named at, what areas they are. So if you look at them on the map of Whangarei right now, you'll find out where all these places are. Waterfront Township, which is where I was last week, right? On last Thursday, Friday, doing a live stream in the middle of town. So this is the town. Where am I? I'm actually looking at two things. Give me a second. Here we go. So this is kind of the township. There's a waterway that goes across to the other side, which is Riverside. There's a Mount Parahaki. So Mount Parahaki gets turned into a palace for the elves. And over here, there's a river. These are natural. This is how Whangarei looks right now. There's a river goes across here and goes out the back. And then you've got like, instead of kind of like the shops and stores and KFC and all that over here, now it's just a jungle, right? It's like a forest and all that. And so the township is basically like this. And so I gave him, like I said, this is the best way I could describe what I wanted that place to look without trying to draw it myself. I don't draw anymore. So that, I just did that. I said, hey, try that, hopefully, come up with something like that. And that's just taking, playing around with other people's work and then creating brand new work from that. So here's photo inks. So these are just photos of that's come through from me, from him. And Fantastical Romy for Zealandia, right, is basically the first arc in that series. And it's about a young girl, around about 17, from our world, transported to this parallel universe of, place, which is like a New Zealand again, but 1/10 the size, but it's like a sword and sorcery, mythological creatures like, dragons and so on, and witches, barbarians, beastmen, dwarves, all that. And so, that one. So, this is her as a little kid, and her dad, and, let me go. Right. Some images. I think this is actually sideways. Oh, what I do? I don't want to do that. Oh, here we go. So yeah, I think it's like it's a side-on thing. So here's an inked page from that. Her as a little kid. And this one here. Some more inked pages. Oh, there we go. So, right. So that from the other one earlier. That's the pencils. That's the inks for that. This is her at home. Her in the playground. Her at school. And her right now. Same thing. Her as a kid. Her right now. Her earlier. There's the from earlier for the inks earlier. Yeah. So yeah, it's a different different style, different story. So it's got to have a different style, and like we can't like using like a superhero style of art on that would not work. Like I wouldn't feel good about it because it just has a different, unique storyline and world, and so now I'm going to do that, bring up the Overlord one, so you can say, because I'm looking forward to the next season of this Overlord anime trailer. Here we go. Let's see, because it's pretty cool. I like the story. It's a really good story. I came to it late. Only probably about 2 years ago or 3 years ago I came to it because it had already been out for about two seasons or something. So, so let's look at the oldest one. So this would be the first season.
Style is reminding of Helsing.
However, if you refuse, I swear here and now, you will die painfully and in despair for your imprudence. You wanted a massacre, you'll get one.
Attention all units. Our prey has entered the cage. Devote yourself to the gods and carry out their will.
The outcome of this battle has already been decided. I will win. It's about time you learn why I am called the Supreme Overlord. You'll see that I was given that name for a reason.
Supreme One, we await your orders. You need but to ask it of us, and it shall be done.
The most enjoyable thing now might be taking over the world.
It's such I liked it so much. I actually have where is she? Gosh, I have one of the figures. I actually bought a figure statue from her, and then I also this one here. So I bought
In 2021, the production of
a
the
statue of
fourth
her,
season
and I also have a
Overlord was
t-shirt of
announced,
her.
along with the production of a movie titled.
So yeah, so they've got movies, they've got TV shows. I think there's about 6-7 series, and such a cool, really good.
我らは聖王女様に仕える騎士だ。皆、胸を張れ。旗を掲げよう。ようこそ、聖王国の皆様。
Her, I have that statue right over there behind other stuff. Otherwise, I'll pull it down.
悪魔とアンデル。
She's such a cool
どちらが
character.
滅びようと我々には損害がない。違うか？天使を突撃させなさい。これ以上、民を一人たりとも傷つけてはなりません。
強ければ何をしても構わない。
役立たず。これが魔導。邪悪なアンデッド。ハインズウールコン。
ああ、なんと素晴らしいのでしょうか。魔導は死んだ。
Can't wait for that. Sacred Kingdom. It'll be awesome. I didn't realize that like a new movie was coming up yet. Haven't been paying attention, but like yeah, it's such a like I said, like I like isekai, and so anything that's that has anything like that, isekai and fantasy, sword and sorcery, I love it. Like, and so I'll go and check it out the first 3 episodes to see if I like it or not. There's another one. Have you seen Freyren? Uh, it's about an elf who's like about 500 years old, who was part of a heroes party, right? As they say, and now those heroes are gone, and she's survived. She's telling about the heroes and visiting the places again with another team, of another group of people, and it's just it's like a real sad story because she's reminiscing about the past and the experiences she's had with them, but she's also got this new group, right, as well. And so, yeah, it's really, there's some amazing talent in the sense of writing that's coming out of Japan. That's why everybody loves it. That's why I love it, right? But also there is so much good stuff coming out of the indie scene of New Zealand, and in New Zealand as well as around the world, right, in the West. And I think a lot of people are getting they're so used to Marvel and DC that they don't want to try anything else. So they think that's all that there is out there. And I'm like, like I said, go try, go see what's at Rising Sun Comics, right? Go see what's in, Antarctic. Go check out all these other amazing small press publishers who actually have decent comics coming out. And, find out which one you like and support that. You don't have to buy the millionth copy of friggin', 10,000 copy of Batman to enjoy a good story. Because right now it's like the same characters doing the same thing, fighting the same person over and over again. It gets boring after a while.
Yeah, that's true. That's the thing, because most of the things from Marvel DC now, they just pick the character they have and just keep redoing. I find it funny how many people aren't really complaining about that, because of course for some few times it's okay to do some to redo, but right now it's just I don't see any sense and like any meaning. Like, how many Batman stories we have already seen, from Spider-Man, from Superman.
Yeah.
That's really just that. I mean, there are some things in the West that is coming out that it's good, but it's kind of fewer than in the in Japan, for example. And most of the things that we see in the West is just these remasters and remakes and redos of over and over. And I don't get it.
Well, the other thing is like all the stuff that they're doing to anime is already in manga, right? So that they've already been created. It's already out there. So the anime acts as a unlike comics, like especially with Marvel and DC, the anime actually works as an advertisement for the manga. Right. Yeah. Once you finish enjoying that season, now you can go and read the rest of the season that's already been written. So you're going back to the comic books. Whereas here, when it comes to the Western, like say a Batman story, right? The last, the Dark Knight. That's all. You can't go back and read another Dark Knight story. That's all you've got. So you can't Dark Knight chapter 2, chapter 3. There's only 3 of them. Like there's Dark Knight 2, DK, and 2, and there's DK 3. That's it. But like and then the confusion is now you don't know which one you're going to be reading next to follow on from that. So, however, if you get to manga, right, you can go read Overlord. Watch Overlord as a movie. Now you can go read it as manga and see what happens later on. And then same thing with the series. And I think, and not everybody does that. I don't do that. Like sometimes if I really get into it, I'll go and read the manga. But I think for us, I think as creators and the indie creators, right, working comics now, I think we have the opportunity to to tell stories in a way that to see what people are into, right? If they're into manga, then we'll go, well, what is exciting about that story, right? That you like. Well, because it's written by the same person. There isn't like somebody else putting their own little twist on it. No, it's the same person doing it. So, and so like that's why I'm like, okay, we'll create all these stories. I'll be the one who's created that universe, and I'll be telling that story. And if somebody else wants to come and tell a story, I'll go, here's that story. right? Here's what you can do with it, here's what you can't do with it. Whereas if you're part of like something like Marvel and DC, you don't get a say how it's done. It's even like I was reading something yesterday about Frank Miller, right? Dark Knight. He's talking about how he created Elektra based on her look and everything is based on a Lonnie Lyons. I think it's Lonnie Lyons, who's a bodybuilder, right, from the 80s, and so 70s, 80s, and he when he killed her off, Marvel promised him that they will never bring her back. That was a promise, that we will not bring Elektra back, and they did. They broke their promise, right? And I didn't even know that, and so, I only found out yesterday that that's what they did. And I'm a fan of Elektra. I've got 2 issues of the first appearance, right? Because I like, and then also the death. I think it was the death of 2 issues of 181, and so 181. And so I saw that and I was like, I mean, like, that's just sad. And and they kind of think, well, maybe that's why he went and did Batman, because he was pissed off and so on. But because like you don't get to tell, have characters the way you wanted to tell. And that's why I'm like, for me, I'm like, let's work on the characters, let's develop them, let's have a look. And once it's done, that's how they'll stay. They won't change any different. Like, they're not going to become some other thing. That would be the way it was written originally. And I think that's why people are getting pissed off with all these changes. And, that's why I love the fact that, as an independent creator, I can create what I want, how I want, and we can put out what we want, and without having some studio telling us, no, you can't do that, and the only studio is telling us how to do that is me, working on a book. I'm like, can we do this? No, that's not working. Let's try this. Okay. Hey, so you were working on a cover, right?
Yeah. I was just forgetting. I mean, we were talking for more than more than a hour. We just didn't talk about that yet. Yeah, I can just share the screen or send pics on the Skype. I don't know.
Yeah, use the present screen tab there, and you can share this.
Okay.
Let me just put a little thing here so I can clip this later. So, work in progress cover. Howler number. Is that spell right? Yep. Howler number 1 cover art. Work in progress. Work. All right. So there we go.
Okay. Yeah, I'll share the screen. Okay, you see?
Yeah.
All right. I was still doing, I would have 6 concepts, but I only did half yet.
Yeah.
But I think I can already show something. Okay, wait. All right. Okay, that's the first one.
Yeah.
That's surely would be for the first cover, first issue. I think that's the one that I was like in terms of concept and idea, because the idea here
I see what you mean. Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. I think that might give away too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, from what I know from the story, this concept really matches with what is trying to tell. The story,
Yeah.
like, would be the 2 of them, and then would be this.
I think we could do that as like a second cover, like a variant cover, right? So if you were doing a regular cover, you'd want to do something that's like, in your face, but not telling too much. Especially if it's like the, because we're telling us kind of like a horror thriller story. You don't want to like give away too much on the first cover,
Yeah.
Go for the next one
Okay.
because I like the concept. It'll be beautiful. It'll be really cool as a as a variant cover.
Yeah. And there's this one is really more concept. We in the background will be the werewolf.
Yeah.
And then he would be like a really dark
Shadow.
color. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the people inside it will be light, like white, and there will be just the characters, you know. That's based from the inspiring in a Sarutopi illustration that I found on Pinterest. I found it really cool. The idea, the concept. I may send it to you.
Is it from a movie as well? Like the concept is that from another movie poster or something? Or is
No,
it just
no,
that?
it's from a comic. Sarutopi. Conhece?
Right.
Do you know?
No. Do you have the image there for it?
I think I do. Let me search.
I like this idea for the first one because like it's kind of like a poster, movie poster type thing where like the creatures in the back, and then the normal people are in the front, and you don't know who's who, right?
Yeah.
I like the mystery. I like that kind of like mystery look of it, feel of it, I should say, because
I
that's
sent
sort of
in
like. Sorry.
I sent the art in Skype.
Okay, let me just check. Um, all right, well, let's come in. Yeah, I think pull back out.
Did you see the art?
Yeah. All right. So pull back out from the screen, like make it smaller. Yeah, there you go. So now, can you? Yeah, I like that. That's good. That's really cool. That's very cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the inspiration.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
make the head bigger.
Yeah.
Did you want the claw there?
Glow. I
Because
didn't
if you
think
do
about
want the
that,
claw
but
there,
it
then
will work.
yeah, if you do want the claw there, then having that screen, that space around the front, like by the jaw there, like over here, then you could put the hand there, like that, or something like that. Because that could work like that. Yeah, I think that's really cool, man. I like this. It's a good concept.
Yeah.
So you got cover B with a couple, and then you got cover A, which is with the head. What's the next one?
The next one, I also had a inspiration. I may show it to you soon. That's this one. That will be the werewolf at the side, at the right. I think it's right side, and then at the other side would be, and the background would be a face. I don't know. You can decide which face. We can see that.
Do you want to like? I think you could do like a wraparound cover with this one. We could have like one face different on the back and one face different on the front, one person different on the front and one person different on the back. So one of each. So you could have A and I right in the front, and then you're gonna A and I and A in the back, because that could work as a wraparound cover if you wanted for the variant cover, right?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, and then you can see also a tree here.
Right.
So it will be leave a appearance, a aesthetic of like midnight, you know.
Yeah.
The inspiration was for a art that I found from the swamp thing from Alan Moore. I don't know if you. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that book.
So, yeah,
Seriously,
I also have this book here. So one of the arts that I found, I found something similar to that. It was kind of different, but it was similar, like with the tree behind the monster.
Yeah.
So I just had this idea then, and put it in.
I just had a thought. I just had a
Hmm.
thought.
Huh.
Could we could do a homage page to like you know, the Wolverine on the X, that one.
X.
You know, when he's like from the like the 1980s, he's on the X-Men cross. Like he's been put on there by the Reapers, Reapers or Ravagers. Um, let me find out. Like so, Wolverine on the X-Men X cover art. How long it's going to take me to get it? Give me 1 sec. No, that's not it. Crap. Close. Oh, 1 sec. Can you can you just search that for me? Like I'm having issues trying to get through it. So it's basically Wolverine on the X-Men. It's a purple, green, blue kind of cover, and he's been put on there. So it's basically, if you search Wolverine on the X-Men X cover, it'll come up.
Wolverine.
So we could do one, and we could have him on a H, right? You know, we could have Iosis on a H as one of the covers. If you want to do a homage, because like they're both like wolves, right? So it'll be like a really cool kind of thing.
Can you say the name again?
Hold up, I'll put in chat. Give me 1 second. In private chat. So what was it? It was, here we go. So yeah, if you search that, that should bring it up. Okay, I think we're almost there with this. So as you guys are watching, the reason I've been taking so much time trying to smooth out the outside of this is like once I get the side, you know, smooth, I can then start carving, because I don't want like over here all these bumps and stuff, because that's, you know, I need a nice smooth layer so that like when I go to do my designs on it and carve on it, it's like it's nice and flat. So otherwise it's rough like this, and if there's any like large pieces of things like stones and stuff, it'll just chip off and it'll ruin the design. So, you know, basically just now I've almost done it. So I'm just going to go across with the water, spray some water on it and smooth it out a bit more, just with the hand like that. So it doesn't feel rough to the touch. I think there's a piece of paper there got stuck in. So, and that's the other thing, like if like anything like this that's in there, it'll leave a mark on it. And so, you know, won't be nothing. But I think I like those sort of marks because it means it's made by hand, not by like somebody's, you know, by a machine. That's the other thing about having, you know, working with Illustrator. It's not made by a machine. It's like actually, you know, someone's actually drawn the sketches and then, you know, working it out here, even if you're using digital, right? You know, like we do. Yeah, were you able to find it? That image from?
I think I did. I'll send to. I'll send you what I found if it's the right one.
I think it's 281, number 281. I'm not sure. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, the purple green. That's the one. You can. Do you want to show it on the screen, please?
Yeah, I'll try.
Yeah, sorry it took a long time to get around to that because I just couldn't get access to the script, to my searches I wanted.
Yeah. Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, yeah, man, go zoom in. So that if we could have a H and do that, that would be awesome.
Yeah. Oh,
It's like a homage cover, right?
I see. I'll keep that safe here in the file.
Yeah, and I'll send you the font and everything. And I mean, like once you finish the art, then I can I'll bust it out. But like, yeah, it's one of my most favorite. See how dark it is and stuff, and what's lit up. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. The light comes from behind, so the
Yeah,
character is like over in the shadow, like it's hidden.
yeah.
Yeah.
Is it
Yeah.
181 or is it 281?
Let me see.
251.
Uh,
Yeah, number 251. Yeah, it's one of my most favorite covers because you can hardly see him. It's shadowed and it's just so detailed. And I think it's Mark Silvestri who did that.
mm, yeah. Yeah. I liked it. Just uh, we can use that as a inspiration, homage.
Mm. Because I've been wanting to use it, but I don't know which one to use it with. And I think this one is the perfect book to use it with. You know, because the characters are kind of similar for what we're doing.
Mm,
Design, I like genre type. So it would be pretty cool to be able to have that come on this one.
yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I don't think you need to do any other covers. I think that's that we
Yeah,
that works
I
really well.
like. I don't know how many I'll really do. I mean, I'll try
Yeah,
to do many ideas because some of them may not be really good ideas. So I'll just try some of them
yeah,
to try it out.
yeah.
You know. So I don't know how many we would really need, how many covers, but
Oh, yeah. I mean,
if
like
we
we've got a whole bunch of issues to come anyway. So even if we
yeah,
don't use it on one cover, we can use it on another cover, right?
yeah. What you talked about this one you said that will reveal too much, then maybe this could work out like for the third issue or
Oh,
fourth. Yeah,
you could use it for later issue. Like maybe issue 2 would work out fine for that one, right?
uh, yeah,
Yeah, because issue 2 is where where we have both characters in their in their situation.
yeah. I mean, I don't know if I'm mistaken. If a second issue will be the flashback, right?
Both. Yeah, it's current and flashback. It's the same as this
Um,
one, right? It's like 50-50 kind of thing. So that you
um,
get yeah.
I see. Okay then. Okay, so which one of these you like it more for the first?
Number 2. Yeah, number 2.
Ah,
Yeah.
this one then.
Yeah, that one for number 2 because I like your idea on that. I like your concept on that. Looks really cool. And
Ah,
then we can do like the Wolverine one as the variant cover, right? And then we can do number like the second one, like the first one for number issue 2, that one for issue 2, and then the variant cover will be the number 3. So that's your 4 covers for 2 issues. Yeah.
mm, okay, let me mark here. Uh,
Mm. Issue 2, number 1 cover, or cover 8, right? Yeah. And
this
then the other
one,
one, issue 1, cover A.
you will
And
be in
then
a like alternative.
no, the first cover. A's
Ah,
first cover. Cover B is the second cover. So, yeah. So the next one will be cover B, issue 2, cover B. And then the next one with the Wolverine will be issue 1, cover B. No, done. Yeah.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah. So that's your 2
Issue
covers done
one.
for the next 2 issues. Yeah.
Just cover B, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So you got cover A and cover B. Sweet. For the next 2 issues.
All right. Oh, saves. Yeah, saved.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, and then I think I need to go. It's really late now for me.
Yeah, I was going to finish up. That's why I'm cleaning up here as well. But thank you, man. Like, that's pretty cool. It's like we worked out what we wanted for the cover and finishing here. And, like, you know, got to have a good chat with you, you know, and, you know, get, you know, find out what, you know, how you got into comics and stuff. And it's been good. So thank you, Louise. You have a good evening, good night, sleep. Have a good rest. And we'll see you next time. And, you know, we'll catch up on Skype soon. And check next time. For everyone who's watching, wherever you are, be well, be safe. If you've got a loved one next to you, you know, nearby, give them a hug and a kiss, let them know that you care. If you haven't, jump on, you know, social media, phone, text, let them know that you care and you're thinking about them. However you want to do that, it's up to you, right? Just so somebody might need that today. So thank you. We'll catch you next time. I think tomorrow we have the What's Cooking at Plunge. So we'll give you some more new artwork, show you some other work that we haven't shown you today that's we've been working on. So thank you so much. See you next time. Like, subscribe, and share.